All right. So last time we talked, it was basically the intro of it all. I'm going to touch base a little bit just for those who kind of missed it a little bit, kind of the mindset behind it real quick, and then jump into the phase that I want to talk about. Not so much the slot T wing T start things, because a lot of people, there's a lot of resources already out there on the buck sweep and the traps and that type of deal. It would kind of be repetitive if I go over mainly slot T stuff or flex bone stuff. But I'm gonna hit the third dimension of the offense. That's I guess not as common when you're mixed talking about flex bone and you're talking about the slot T, and go into a little bit more into depth about that. So the first thing I want to do is just a quick overview of the Flex T, and I covered a little bit of this last time. The best way I could explain it, it's a three-headed beast. All right, it's the flex bone option. Slot T and the tempo shotgun offense merge into one. It's taking the strengths of all three and to make one. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's simply just taking the best, most effective schemes from the flex bone, the shotgun, the slot T, and the shotgun tempo stuff, and use it to attack your opponent. And this is mainly stemming over the last 2 decades of coaching, stemming from the defensive side of things, having to coach defense and coaching defense, and then really just remembering, like, God dang, this week we got to play Coach Whitaker over at Port Lavaca, and they run the flex bone, and trying to get your kids ready in 3 days to see that and how hard it was. And of course, we were a slot T team, and then having to play against other teams that ran slot T or a version of it. Now having to prepare for that, and I knew that was tough. And of course, all the teams that were really good at running tempo, having to rep our kids and do that. So I try to figure out a way, and it's still adapting and still tweaking things, but try to figure out a way to have all three of those concepts into one. What I like the most, it gives us the ability to be multiple and then adapt to our personnel strengths, and it gives us an answer to any situation. So if we're going against a team that's just lights up the scoreboard, then we may stay under center and run more slot T, flex bone stuff, and just play keep away to give us a chance at the end if we're outmanned. Or if we go against a team whose secondary is pretty sus, but they have a good up front, and as far as stopping the run, then maybe we'll run a little bit more gun T stuff and throw the ball around to exploit the really attack the weaknesses. So it's be multiple with the power run game, the option read game, and the tempo pass game that is sound and effective. Again, it's not reinventing the wheel. It's just taking the bread and butter of the slot T and the few bread and butter plays concepts, whether it's midline or inside veer of the flex bone, and then the tempo stuff and merging it together. Okay, since there's a strong side and a quick side, and I think this gives us a lot of value if you're one of those coaches. You kind of understand if you flip flop your lines. It allows us to teach and practice 2 plays at the same time that it takes our opponent to teach and practice 1. So we have left sets and we have right sets. And that's the most important thing, I guess, theme that you got to carry in between each phase of your offenses. So with the flex bone and with the slot T, when we run it, we would flip flop our lines and then run a play to the strong side and run a certain play to the quick side. When we implement our gun tempo stuff, we keep the same thing. We're going to flip flop because that's what the kids know, and that's how the terminology and the playbooks are able to merge and stay together as one. And that's how we get away with being able to do a little bit of everything. All right, so real quick, a quick review. Our slot T side, which is what we did is we moved the slot to the strong side, so it's more of a wing T, buck sweep type of offense. So we run all of our 200 series and our 400 buck series to the strong side. So we have our bread and butter plays to the strong side. And then to keep them honest, we come back to the quick side and we have our midline, our inside veer, our speed option stuff, along with, and we merged the jet and belly series together. So we'll run our jet sweep back to the quick side. Once they start slanting, overloading to the wing side or to our slot side, and then also keep that fullback behind center, behind the quarterback to follow up after the jet action, follow up and be able to run some belly series stuff. Again, back to the quick side. So we have our quick side plays. Again, it stays with the theme with the slot T we have and wing T. It's strong side plays and quick side plays. And when we talk, it's important that we don't have plays going to the right and plays going to the left. They're going strong side or going quick side. Or we got strong side sprint out or we got quick side sprint out. So the most important thing is that you stay with that theme so the transition is more smooth. Some base formations. Again, I'm just touching with the under center stuff. Today's going to be a little bit more focused on how we do the gun stuff and how we implement it with the other stuff. So some of our base stuff that I like to run, our base formation is our M formation. And again, we got our wing T 200, 400 stuff. And then we have our midline veer stuff back to the quick side. And the reason why I like the veer stuff back to the quick side, because if you cut it in half, you got your flex bone formation, half of things. And then now you got your quick side. And if you're familiar with the quick sides, they're usually your smaller, quicker type of linemen. They're not as physical as your strong side. So now you're taking advantage and playing into your personnel. So now you're adding more blockers at the point of attack by allowing your quarterback to read the down lineman, whether it's midline or whether it's veer. So now you're kind of playing into your personnel. So you got so some of the terminology, we got M set and we got M over, and at any time we can go left set. So we can go M left, and now it just flips everything and still run the certain strong side plays, and you can come back and run your quick side plays. And then we got M twins, and then M twins over. Just meaning, of course, those are all unbalanced sets with the over sets. All right, so now this is the part that I wanted to kind of talk a little bit more, just because everybody there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of resources on Buck, the offense, and then the flex bone stuff. There's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff I got from Kelly Lee and watching his stuff and communicating with him. A lot of my flex bone stuff is based off of the way he does things. So just like anything else, all this is not brand new stuff. It's just stolen ideas, things that I've experienced, things that I've experienced having to prepare for, and it was just really tough. And then, and I think it gives the type of kids that I'm used to working with in South Texas, it gives us the kids are maybe a little bit smaller, not as big. We don't have a whole lot of D1 athletes. So it gives us a chance to compete with those kids when you're 3, 4, 5 rounds in the playoffs, and it gives you a chance. So now the Tempo Gun T series, again, staying with the theme and remembering that you still have your strong side plays and your quick side plays. So what this allows us now is to go multiple receivers, and still now take the gun concepts, whether it's mesh, whether it's running high-low concepts or a stick concept or the quick game, the now ones, the now twos, some screen game, and implementing it into which would be typically like a heavy slot T, just run and play action type of offense. This gun T still allows us to keep our identity of what we do, and so as far as running sweeps and play action, but still allows us to open it up a little bit and be able to take advantage of some of those other concepts that most gun teams run. So some of the benefits that we see going tempo and going no huddle, and I'll go a little bit into the way it's structured here in a little bit, but of course it forces defense to line up in base, because you're thinking about it now. As a defensive coordinator, you're breaking down film, and then you see us go under center, and you see us run buck sweep, and you see us run trap, and you see us run tackle trap, and then all of a sudden we run midline, and then some jet sweep, and it's like, okay, so defensively you're thinking, and you're just like, okay, so I'm charting this stuff. I got to be sound to the jet sweep. I got to be sound to the option, which is a totally different beast. If you're experienced calling defense or having to prepare for that, and then the wing tee, the buck sweep stuff is not common, so you got to prepare for that, and then all of a sudden they go into gun, and it's just the tempo part of things, or the empty gun part of things, and then have to prepare for that. So it's just the third dimension that I think gives us a lot of value and gives us the ability to be multiple. And the whole mindset was really just trying to kill two birds with one stone, and that'll make a little bit more sense when I start talking about why we do and some of the benefits we get from doing it the way we do it. So again, it helps us manage the clock when time's an issue. And really this tempo, this gun tee is more of our like 2-minute offense. So I know most slot T teams, they may work it like on a Thursday during walkthroughs. All right, let's work our 2-minute, and then really never get very good at it. I know there's some other teams that are a little bit more balanced and spend a little bit more time on it, and is pretty effective with it. But our tempo series, okay, why we use tempo, okay? Like I just mentioned a little while ago, it gives us a 2-minute offense. Like I said, most slot T teams, most wing T teams, most flex bone teams, if they fall behind, then it's tough. It's tough. Or if they give up a big play on special teams, and all of a sudden you're down by 2 touchdowns. Most flex bone teams and most slot T teams, I wouldn't say so much all slot teams. I know Coach Sosa likes to throw the ball around, and the first time you start loading the box, I know he's going to let it rip and make you pay. But like I said, most teams like that are okay with three yards in a cloud of dust. And that's the game they play, and it's tough to defend, and they play keep away. So offensively, you're very limited on the opportunities you get when you're playing against teams like that, and that holds a lot of value. But I've seen games where all of a sudden you kick off and they return kickoffs. All done, you're down 7-0, and then you get the ball back, and then say you fumble and they scoop and score, and all of a sudden it's 14-0. Now you're behind. So what's going to be your answer? I mean, you may not have enough time for the 3 yards in a cloud of dust. So it gives us a 2-minute offense, and of course, if you got the ball right before the half, you can use that 2-minute offense to give us the best shot to either put you in a position to kick that field goal, or maybe score right before the half. And of course, at the end of the game, if you're having to go a whole length of the field, you have to you got to open it up, and you can't just run the same play actions over and over again, or just take the deep shot, because it's defenses are expecting that. So another thing it does, why we use a tempo as another dimension. Again, this is just another dimension to what's already in place. It gives us the answer when you run short on time to finish out the game. And like I said, you're falling behind. It allows you to open it up and really speed up the tempo of your offense. And then I think the last dimension, why we do it, it gives the opponent another dimension that they have to prepare for. So again, when you're preparing on the weekends and you're breaking down film and you're charting everything and you're entering everything into huddle and you have and you're charting the Buck series, and then you're charting the flexbone stuff, and then you're charting, all of a sudden they're going tempo, and you're charting the pass plays and the run plays out of it. And then again, you're drawing up cards and you're having to prepare for all that. It kind of puts you in the bind defensively, and I think that's what it does. That's another thing that why I like the flex T and why I felt that it's evolved to what we do now. It forces a defense's hand. It forces them again to play a little bit more base, and it forces them to be more predictable. Number one, it forces them to have to be very simple with their plan of attack. You got a question?
No, you're good, coach.
Okay, I thought I heard something. It forces them to have to be simple with their game plan. They can't just, okay, when they do this, this is an automatic. When they do that, here's an automatic. And I think, again, during the week, they're having a script, their scout book, and they don't get a whole lot of reps of defending the quick trap, or they're not going to be able to get a whole lot of reps defending midline, which, you know, if you ever had to defend it, you got to rep the heck out of it because it's tough. And you can't just scheme against it because you're going to get yourself burned, or you're going to stunt yourself out of the play and give up a big play. Because there's also the jet sweep, and there's also the gun tee stuff. And if you're doing too much, then your kids are thinking. They're thinking way too much, which plays into, I guess, the offensive hand. So that's why we do it. The tempo stuff. Again, like I said, it gives you another dimension, and then it's just another thing that our opponent's going to have to rep. So they're more busy having to rep the tempo stuff and having to work the tempo stuff, and really not get a whole lot of reps and trying to stop our bread and butter stuff. Okay, so the next thing, so the transition, how we merge it all together, because it's all different worlds. The flex bone's a different world from the slot T, wing T stuff. Wing T, slot T's, they're pretty much in the same family, but the flex bones is a totally different family when you're talking about preparing it. As far as it's in the run game family, but when you're preparing it, it's a totally different beast. So the fact that you have to rep the flex bone, and the fact that you have to rep the slot T stuff, and then now how do you merge the gun T stuff into it? And also not only that is how do you change gears? You go from the 30 yards in a cloud of dust playing keep away, the physical hit you in the mouth type of offense, into a tempo type of offense. And I think another thing it does is, of course, kids nowadays, they see the NFL stuff and they see the tempo stuff and they play the Madden stuff and they like the wristband stuff. They like how it looks like when they wear the wristband and the Nike gloves and all that good stuff. So I think it plays into that, and it kind of changes gears at practice for your kids. Kids like it. It's kid friendly, I guess you could say. So how we merge it together, it starts off by keeping the same mindset of a strong side and a quick side. That theme has to bleed over into every phase of your offense, whether you're running option or whether you're running buck sweep. The strong side mindset and the quick side mindset stays intact. Okay, and that's how we make it work. And just like anything else, it has to be practiced. Okay, I know you have X amount of minutes that you rep all this stuff, and then to be good at it, you have to get quality reps. And to be good at the gun T tempo stuff, it has to be practiced. And the way we do it, and I think the way you got to pick outside the box, number one, and we practice it in hidden minutes. And what I mean by that is our tempo script is our conditioning. So we may have a script for our tempo, and we may save it And of course, your head coach has to be on, and your defense coordinator. We've got offensive days of conditioning, and we'll spot the ball, and then we'll have a first team, second team. Then we've got our JV, first team, second team, and of course, their menu is a little smaller, but it's introduced to them. But we script it, and we just run the plays down the field as fast as we can and as effective as we can. And that's our conditioning. So that's how we kind of steal some time on working our tempo stuff and really repping it at a fast pace. Sometimes it's on air. Sometimes it's with a skeleton crew out there to give us a look. But early on, it's on air just to work on the mechanics and the communication part of things, either from the communication from the sideline to the huddle or just communication on the field amongst the kids, and rep it that way and get efficient, get good at it. Once I feel comfortable that they've kind of had the idea of how the tempo works and how it's structured, and then we'll throw a defense out there and go against the defense and then move the ball. And then again, we work it by stealing minutes. And of course, if you have a system, this stuff is worked year round. And then you work it with your receivers, your skill kids, with your quarterbacks during the summer. You work it as part of your 7-on-7 package. And then work it, those route concepts and the terminology, you start teaching it then. So it's important that you do that during the off season, so you don't have to. There's not a whole lot of teaching involved during in season, and it's all about just getting reps and getting reps and getting reps and getting reps and looking at this defense and this front and getting reps and getting reps. So it's a year-long process when you're running this stuff. At least that's how we do things. Okay, so the structure. So I'm going to try to paint a picture of the structure. All right, so just like any tempo, if you're involved with tempo offenses, everybody has a system in place on how they do things. This is how we have it structured. And of course, it's been evolving. Every year is a little bit different. We tweak this, and maybe we change this, and sometimes it all depends on personnel and who we trust on making these calls and sending the formation and calling the protection type of deal. So for us, our base structure is of course the center's going to spot the ball when we're going tempo. Of course, this is tempo, and everything is for us. It's one-word plays. And early on, it's on a wristband, and we call the one-word play, but the description is on that wristband as far as what play we're running. So, for example, if you can use any terminology, whatever works for you. Everybody has a different terminology, way they do things, and for example, in the past, we used university or colleges. So if we want to run, for example, we want to run buck sweep out of gun, we may call it Texas, or we may signal it in the Longhorn Hook'em mascot deal. We may just call Longhorn, or we may call Texas, or we may just signal in the Longhorn, or another phrase we may use is just call orange, 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 orange. And no matter if we say Longhorn, or we say Texas, or we say orange, it all means buck sweep. So we're going to run buck sweep. So as soon as the whistle's blown and we want to go tempo, we start yelling the college name out, whether it's Texas or whatever. The center is worried about spotting the ball. Okay. The tailback and halfback are re-echoing or setting the formation. So if I call trips, or if I call Trey and our base one we base out of, as soon as we start tempos, trips, they start hearing trips. Of course, out of MSET, out of the under center stuff, it's all either M twins, M over. If they start hearing trips or Trey, then they know we're going tempo. So right off the bat, without saying, hey, we're going tempo, we just call the formation. And then it's echoed with the tailback and the halfback. They're setting the formation. They're yelling trips, trips, trips. And then our strong end and halfback kind of calls the protection. And the reason why we have that, our strong end and halfback, of course, you'll see the formations here in a little bit, but when we want to go 6-man protection, it's going to be one of them helping out on our pass protection. So that's why I had them assign as far as helping call the protection on whatever the pass play is going to be, if it's a pass. And then, of course, the quarterback's calling out the play. So we have signal words. Our strong tackle and strong quick tackle echoes a play. So, of course, they'll be on one end or the other. We flip-flop. So the strong tackle echo it out towards the sideline. Our quick tackle echo it out to his side, just to assure that everybody and everything is communicated. We rep it and we try to move as fast as possible. And again, it's tempo, so it's more about having our 2-minute offense and be able to change gears and move fast, and then also giving the defense something else to have to work on. And the out of our gun stuff, it's the menu is very small. We mainly have maybe about 4 or 5 run plays, but it's all the same concept. It's all either buck sweep, it's the jet. So it's all the same run concept. So nothing new up front is being learned as far as blocking. Blocking, it's already been taught when it's under center. So the run play is pretty simple. The pass play stuff, it's all concept that's already in the playbook. It's just now having to work the shotgun snap and repping that. And again, you rep that either pre-practice or during the summers, or you rep it while you're doing special teams. You may want, if you can, still your quarterback, who's usually not on kickoff. So you're working kickoff, your center and your quarterback, they're working pass protections with the offensive line coach, and they're getting their gun snap. So I think if you're just smart about it to steal time to work those things, then it's very possible. So that's kind of how it's structured as far as communicating the tempo. Again, we're talking tempo stuff and how we do things. And I'm sure someone else has a better idea that's more efficient and more better or whatever, but this is kind of our layout and how we do things. And again, I think the most important thing is that you keep the theme of a strong side and a quick side play. So what's also predetermined, and I forgot to mention on this, to make it the tempo go fast, we don't use any motion unless it's a dead ball. Then I'll call it on the play card. I have those separated as far as when I want to call a motion out of the gun, but there's no motion involved when we're going tempo. We're trying to move fast. And then also the strength of where the tied up is our strong side is going to line up. It's already predetermined. They're always going to line up to the boundary. If the ball is middle of the field, then it's going to be a right set. So if we go trips, our center is going to spot the ball, and he's going to go, if the ball is on the right hash, he's going to say right, 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 because we're going to set our strong side to the boundary. And of course, that's going to leave our trips or a multiple receiver side, because it's going to leave it to the field. We're going to set that to the field. So it's already predetermined. If we run a quick out to the field, go ahead. If we run a quick play out to the field and then they're tackled, stayed in bounds, of course, center's running to that hash mark to get the ball set, and then everybody else already knows, it's already predetermined. We're going to flip the formation. So now trips is going to the field, the strong end's going to the boundary, strong side's going to the boundary, quick side is running towards the ball and knows they're going to be to the field. So it's pretty much all determined as far as the formation. That allows us to move a little bit faster than having to set the formation. Again, like I said, the formation as far as when we flip flop, it's already predetermined on field and boundary. So that's how we do that. Okay, some of the base formations, because we keep and trying to keep things simple. Our base one we use out of our gun stuff is trips, and this is what trips looks like to us. We got our swing man split out on the line, and then our halfback, and then our tailback in a base trips formation. We always have a strong end intact, unless we go wide, which is rare, hardly ever, and it's usually like a Hail Mary play when he's out wide. And typically, if we're in that situation, we're probably going to get in another swingman to come in for him and run like a Hail Mary play. I like that. I always like to keep that strong end in play because it kind of still keeps our identity as far as our run threat and being able to run buck sweep out of it. It allows us to do that. Anytime we're going to go, again, multiple receivers, if we call trips empty, that tells the fullback to line out away from trips. So anytime he hears empty, he's going away from the call, away from trips. Right? And like I said, it's always predetermined. Strong side always goes to the boundary. And again, that has to be read, and you still, whether you're doing conditioning or off-season stuff, so that's kind of already learned ahead of time. This is our tray look with the one back, with our fullback tray. And of course, we can always flip it if we want to. We want to run just regular offense. We can go tray left, and then it flips the formation. So that's our tray look, and then tray empty. And again, that just tells the fullback to line up, split out, away from the call, away from the tray call. Earlier, it was trips. Okay, that's what trips empty looks like right here. He's going away from the trips. This is our tray empty. Here's tray, and he's running away. He's lining up away from tray. Okay, so those are a couple of our base formations. And again, when you go empty, you know, as a defensive coach, you see empty, then I think it makes the defense a little bit predictable. Because a lot of times, most defenses, unless they know they're going to see a whole lot of empty, they'll have maybe two automatics to that. They'll have where they're going to send the house and man up with everybody, or they're going to drop everybody. So I think it going empty and being able to go empty, it makes the defense a little bit more predictable. And this is our tres look. So we got tres, which is puts our tailback in that slot right there. And then tres empty again, it tells our fullback to line up away from the tres call. So he just lines up away. So that's how we do our base formations. And that's how we try to keep it as simple as possible. And again, just like anything, the KISS formula, keep it as simple so our kids can play fast and aggressive. And you don't want them out there thinking, because if they're thinking, they're not moving fast. And you know how the game is, so it needs to be played. So those are our base formations. Those are our structures. This is why we implemented the tempo package. Again, it's a few run plays, it's a few pass plays, and I think about 80% of it comes out of trips. But depending on how they're lining up, we may take advantage and run some tray empty. But that's what we do out of that. And really, that's all I have for you, Coach. I wasn't planning on having a little bit more time than that, but I'll go back to that first slide. And there's my email. There's my phone number. I know I didn't cover a whole lot of just the FlexBone stuff. I did a little bit in that first part one. but you can email me, you can call me if you have any questions about the other stuff. And it's just like anything else. It's constantly evolving, and we're tweaking it and trying to make it a little bit more simpler, a little bit more efficient, a little bit more effective, and find a way to sell it a little bit better to our kids, and it's what we do. So,
well, perfect, Coach. Coaches, reach out to Coach. His contact information is on the screen. So do not hesitate to reach out to him. Like I said, I know, again, there was quite a bit of coaches who wanted to talk to him, and we've had coaches in and out the whole session. And I know the Slot T Facebook group, if you're not part of that, we'll probably comment on this and repost it and all that lovely jazz. And I know Coach is part of that as well. Like I said, that's all of our speakers for today. If you won't rewatch any part of this, the full VOD should be converted, however YouTube does it, in the next, I'd say next couple minutes, and then I will get these started cutting up, and individual like pieces of this clinic will be probably posted either Monday or Tuesday this week. Otherwise, I appreciate everybody that came on and watched, and again, do not hesitate to reach out to any of our fantastic speakers if you have any questions for them. Coach Gonzalez, thank you. I appreciate you, and you have a great